In this video, we're going to look at probability, what it is, and how we calculate it. So the probability of something happening simply means the fraction of times it would happen in the long run. Probability is a fraction or decimal and can only take values from 0 to 1. 0 means impossible and 1 is certain. For example, what is the probability of throwing a number between 1 and 6 on a regular dice? Well, a regular dice has the numbers 1 to 6. So by throwing the dice, we've got a probability of 1 because it's certain that we will get one of these numbers when we throw the dice. The second question asks, what's the probability of tossing a coin that will land on heads? Well, there are two options and one of those is heads, so the probability is a half because there's a 50-50 chance of getting heads because otherwise you would get tails. And then we want to look at the probability of the sun won't rise tomorrow. Well, we know that the sun will rise tomorrow, so therefore it's impossible, so a probability of 0 that the sun won't rise. A probability line is any line numbered from 0 to 1 representing all probabilities. So you can see that 0 represents impossible, so something that won't happen. And we've got certain at the other end of our probability line and even chance in the middle. We also have options of unlikely, likely, sometimes you'll see very unlikely or very likely. And you can see that if we were just looking for one number on the dice, we would have a 1 in 6 chance, so that's unlikely. And if we wanted to pick a blue ball out of 5 balls, it's going to be likely. So the calculating probability formula is P brackets event, so that's the event that you're looking at, equals the number of favourable outcomes over the number of possible ways. Probability can be represented as a fraction, but the numerator cannot be more than the number of possible ways, because it can't be greater than 1. But when comparing, it's easier to use decimals or percentages. So in our example, we have a bowl that contains 7 green, 10 blue, 14 pink and 11 orange Smarties, and we want to know what the probability of picking a blue is. And we can see from the question that there are 10 blue Smarties in the bowl. So, we want to work out what P blue is. Now P blue is going to be the number of blue Smarties on the numerator, and we're going to have that all over the total number of Smarties that are in the bowl. And we can find that by totaling the different colours. So the number of blue Smarties was 10, and that's going to be over 7 plus 10 plus 14 plus 11. Now we need to total that up, and that gives us 10 over 42. We can simplify this fraction because we've got two even numbers, so we can divide the top and the bottom by 2, and that gives us a probability of a blue Smartie of 5 over 21. So in this example, Joe enters a raffle and buys 11 out of 119 tickets. Bob enters a different raffle and buys 13 out of 143 tickets. Who has the better chance of winning a prize? We can't just say Joe or Bob, we need to work out what the probability of winning. So P win is going to equal the number of tickets bought by Joe and Bob at their respective raffles. And that's going to be all over the total number of tickets sold in each raffle. So you can see we're going to have two different probabilities to calculate, and then we're going to be able to compare them by changing them into decimals or percentages. So let's look at Joe first. Joe's probability of winning, so for Joe, P win is going to equal the 11 tickets she bought out of 119 tickets. So it's 11 over 119. We can change that to a decimal by doing 11 divided by 119, and that gives us 0.0924 or 9.2% by multiplying by 100. Now let's look at Bob's probability of winning. So for Bob, P win This time he bought 13 tickets out of 143 sold, so the probability is 13 over 143, which as a decimal is 0.0909, and we can write that as a percentage to one decimal place of 9.1%. Now we can compare to work out who has the better chance of winning a prize. So we want the probability that's highest because then they have a better chance of winning. So we need to answer the question by saying that Joe has a better chance of winning a prize. And the reason that Joe has a better chance of winning a prize is because 9.2% is greater than 9.1%. So make sure when you're writing your final answer that you make that comparison between the two probabilities.